Howdy folks, and welcome back to the World of Tanks patch 8.9 test server with the mighty Jingles. We're up to tier 9 at last. This is the new German tier 9 tank destroyer, the Waffletraktor auf Panzer IV. Or as I prefer to call it, the Waffletraktor IV, because it's easier to say and it's funnier. So yeah. I like this machine. I do like this machine. It's a very, very sneaky little tier 9 tank destroyer. It's going to be directly competing for your affections with this beauty here, the Jagdtiger, and it does share a gun with the Jagdtiger. But we'll come on to the gun selection in a moment. The gun selection is probably one of the most interesting things about this machine, and is going to be highly controversial. But for the moment, we're just going to look at the rest of the stats. We'll come to the guns once we've done that. 1600 hit points. Standard for a tier 9 tank destroyer. It's exactly the same amount of health as the Object 704, not as much as the Jagdtiger, for example. It's a very light machine. It's based on the chassis of a stretched Panzer IV, 28.06 tons, and it has a 400 horsepower engine, so it's got a good power to weight ratio. It's certainly one of the more mobile of the tier 9 tank destroyers. It's not mobile by French standards, but it's, there's a hell of a lot more grunt than, for example, the Jagdtiger or the Tortoise. It will do up to 38 kilometers per hour, and it will relatively easily reach that speed, and it's not too unmaneuverable either. It's got a 36-degree traverse. Armour-wise, it's an absolute joke. It's got 80 millimeters at the front, 30 at the sides, 20 at the rear. Now, interestingly, it doesn't give armour figures for the turret. You could argue that it doesn't actually have a turret. I mean, look at it. It's a gun. There is no actual turret on that. There's just a chassis with a gun on it. What's interesting is if you look at the Waffletraktor E100 up at tier 10, you say, well, that one's got a turret, and it gives it turret armour values. Well, does it? 20, 10. There's nothing at the back. And yet it says 8 millimeters of armour. It's just open. Unless it's referring to this bit here, which I suppose it probably is. But funny thing about these two machines, and I suppose to a degree you could say also to the Rheinmetall Borsig Waffenträger down here at tier 8, is do they actually have turrets? We call them turreted tank destroyers because the guns rotate 360 degrees, but let's have a look at the T-30 for example. That's a turreted tank destroyer because there's the gun and there's the turret. But these things, are they really turrets, or are they just chassis with guns on the top? And I was a little concerned at first, because a gun is a module, in the same way that the engine is a module, and the radio is a module, and the ammo rack, and the engine. I've already said the engine. Things like that, they're modules. You can hit, damage, and destroy a module without doing any damage to the health of the tank. So I was a little concerned about, how the hell were they going to make that mechanic work with these things? Because that's a gun, and a gun is a module. And there's really nothing to worry about, because what it appears to be is that what they've done is this much, basically the breech and the loading mechanism of the gun is still the gun, but it seems to also count as the turret as far as damaging the tank is concerned. So you can hit it here, and you'll knock the gun out, and do health bar damage to the tank because you've hit it in the turret, if you see what I'm saying. So nothing really to worry about there. Armour-wise, well, it doesn't give any armour values for, the turret. I'll show you something else that's interesting. Look at the gun shield, which is pretty much all that is. It's not really turret armour at all. It's just a shield to protect the crew from small arms fire. Right, that's it on the 128mm gun. I've never seen this before. See that? They've changed the armour when you mount the 150mm gun. Whatever the armour of that gun shield is, it's completely trivial and inconsequential. Nothing is going to bounce off that. It's probably something like 8mm thick, and it's a tier 9 machine. Right, a Churchill 3 could kill one of these things. The armour is an afterthought. And again, this is the characteristic of this new German tank destroyer line. No armour whatsoever. Very flimsy, very easy to kill, very, very dangerous guns. This thing also has a 410 meter view range, which is really, really good, and it does need that view range, and the 700 meter signal range. Remember, this gun will traverse 360 degrees, and it does so at a very slow 18 degrees per second. But the fact that it can traverse 360 degrees is just so much of a bonus that we don't really care that it only turns at 18. Now, the gun selection on this thing, and there's going to be a lot of arguments about which gun people are going to use on this machine and which ammunition people are going to use on the guns on this machine. I'm going to look at the 100. Well, first of all, there is a choice of 4 guns on this machine, although the first 2 guns are simply the guns that you get at tier 8 on the Rheinmetall Waffletraktor. They're exactly the same guns, just with slightly better performance, and they're not bad guns. But the 215 millimeters of penetration on the 150 millimeter, while it's not terrible on a tier 8 machine, it's looking pretty bad on a tier 9 machine. So you're probably not going to want to be using the 150 millimeter to grind the XP you need for the 2 gun upgrades on this thing, unless of course you're using premium ammo, which does get that 334 millimeters of penetration. The 128 millimeter gun that you got on the Waffletraktor, the Rheinmetall Waffletraktor, is also still available. And you're probably going to find, just because it's cheaper and more reliable, that most people are going to be using this gun to grind out the XP that you need for the 2 top guns on this machine. And those 2 guns are essentially upgraded versions of the existing 2 guns. You have a 150 millimeter and another 128 millimeter. Now that 128 millimeter gun, which has 5.5 rounds per minute rate of fire, 276 penetration, 352 with APCR ammo, which is the premium ammo for the 128, it does 560 average damage, not the 490 that you had at tier 8 using the 128mm. 0.33 accuracy, which is really good, and a pretty good 2.1 second aiming time. That's actually a very good aiming time. You know, it's not just pretty good, it's very good. By comparison, the 150mm is pretty much it's an upgraded version, not only an upgraded version of the existing 150mm gun on the Rheinmetall Waffletraktor, it's also an upgraded version of the 150mm gun that you get on the E100, the tier 10 heavy tank. 3.75 rounds per minute, 235 millimeters of penetration, 750 damage, 0.38 accuracy, which is pretty bad, and a 2.5 second aiming time, which is not terrible, but it's not good either. It has a better rate of fire than the same gun on the E100. It has better accuracy than the same gun on the E100, and I think I'll just check for you, but I'm pretty sure it also has a better aiming time. Heavy tank, sorry, where are we? There we go, E100. Yep. Better in all respects. It has exactly the same penetration, exactly the same damage, but the aiming time, accuracy, and rate of fire are all better on the tier 9 tank destroyer. So, which gun are you going to use? Well, it's not really that clear cut. It's basically down to whether or not you want the reliability, the rate of fire, the accuracy, and the aiming time of the 128, which is really, really good. I have to say, this is my favourite gun on the tank. Or you can roll the dice and take your chances with the 150mm. Now, that 150mm gun is not very good on the E100 unless you're using high explosive anti-tank ammo. It's not as bad on this machine as it is on the E100 if you're not using high explosive anti-tank ammo, because the E100 never gets to shoot at tier 7s, unless somebody's in a fail platoon. The E100, at the most, is going to see tier 8s. And it chews up tier 8s using standard armor-piercing ammo with the 150mm. But this thing is going to be shooting at tier 7s and tier 8s, as well as the tier 9s and 10s that it can also get matched up against. And with 235mm of penetration, you're not going to have any problem shooting at tier 7s and 8s, which is going to be the majority of the things that you shoot at in this tank. So you're not necessarily going to need the penetration of the high explosive anti-tank ammo, 334mm, unless you're regularly going up against tier 10s and some tier 9s. Now, people always say, well, you could just learn to aim. Yeah, but it's only got 0.38 accuracy. So, And long and bitter experience has taught me that the second this thing gets spotted, it dies. And that's going to be a problem if you're using the 150mm. Well, it's going to be a problem whichever gun you're using, but it's going to be more of a problem with a 150mm for a number of reasons. First of all, you have to, well, regardless of which gun you're using, if you get spotted, you die when you're driving this thing. Simple as that. So, in order to not get spotted, you need to stay as far back from the firing line as you possibly can. Use your view range. Use the relatively good, I suspect, camo rating of this machine. So you're going to be engaging your targets as far away as you possibly can. Long range shooting. The 128 has 0.33 accuracy and 276mm of penetration. It's designed for long range shooting. The 150 has 0.38 accuracy and 235mm of penetration with armor piercing. The actual penetration is going to be significantly less than 235mm because that 235mm penetration is at 100 meter range. If this thing starts shooting at vehicles that are 100 meters away, you're too close, you're going to die. So the 235mm penetration with armor piercing ammo on the 150 is actually worse than it at first appears. Which means that if you're in a tier 10 game, or there are lots and lots of tier 9s, you're probably going to want to be firing the high explosive anti-tank. Now, the 334mm of penetration that you get out of this thing does compensate for a lot of sins, like 0.38 accuracy, for example. However, it's not all fine and dandy using high explosive anti-tank ammo, because you do get lots and lots of penetration, and high explosive anti-tank ammo does not lose penetration with distance, but it does not like being fired against spaced armor. Spaced armor usually just completely defeats this shell. And it does not like being fired against sloped and angled armor. And at the kind of ranges you have to use this thing to remain effective. And with 0.38 accuracy, you cannot really do anything other than aim directly at the center of mass of an enemy tank and just roll the dice and hope you hit part of the tank that is vulnerable to high explosive anti-tank ammo. You're probably going to get a lot of bounces with this thing. If you're using the machine properly and keeping well back from the line of fire, you're probably going to get a lot of bounces with heat ammo, which is going to be really frustrating because it's 6,000 credits per shot. So the choice is yours. I am not saying do not use the 150mm gun. It's a better gun on this machine than it is on the E100. But you're prepared to be frustrated is all I'm going to say. You can have great games with that gun on this machine, but you can have really, really frustrating games with that gun on this machine. I just feel that 128mm, it just performs better. It's more consistent. You have to use both machines in second line right back from the firing line, and that gun is designed for long-range sniper work. 276mm of penetration, 2.1 second aiming time, 0.33 accuracy. However, you pays your money, you takes your choice. Now, as far as equipment and crew skills go, you're going to want a large caliber tank gun rammer, obviously. And on this machine, because unlike its big brother at tier 10, which is just huge, and is not going to have a very good camo rating, this thing is still quite small. And I feel that you're probably going to want, aside from the large caliber tank gun rammer, you're going to want a camo net. Because, and I'll prove it to you when you see one of the replays, this thing is very, very stealthy. Camo nets really, really work on this thing, as does the binocular telescope. And not purely because this thing already has a very, very good 410 meter view range and is a stealthy machine, because it has that turret. 360-degree rotating gun, which means that these equipment like this doesn't come into effect until the vehicle is stationary. Then you have to count to 3 and then they become active. And this thing has a turret, so unlike, for example, the Jagdtiger, if you're pointing that way and a target appears over here, you've got your camo net and your binos up, crap, you have to turn the whole machine. And there's a chance, well, the second you do that, you lose your camo and you lose your binocular telescope range advantage. And then you have to count to 3 again in order for them to come back up. Well, that never needs to happen if you're positioned well and you're driving one of these because it's got a turret. You just turn the gun around. Right? You never lose the bonus from the camo net or the binos, and I just feel that on machines like this with a good turret, you get so much more value out of camo nets and binoculars. Same deal goes for the crew. Don't pay too much attention to my crew skills. This is a retrained Jagdtiger crew, but this thing is really sneaky. So you're going to want camo, 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 camo. Once you've done that, Commander, 100% camo, swap it out, change it for Sixth Sense, and then camo again on the Commander. You may wish to go for something like Deadeye on the Gunner. Once camo reaches 100% and then train camo again, you may wish to go for something like safe stowage on the loader, but to be completely honest, if you've taken an ammo rack hit in this thing, you've done it wrong because you've been spotted. Right? You should count on, at all times, trying to never be detected when you're driving this thing, because getting spotted is just death when you're driving the Waffletraktor IV. So, I've bored you enough. How about some games? Right, my very first game in the Waffletraktor IV. There are 3 of us in this game who aren't tier 10, so that's actually quite good matchmaking for me. But with this gun, I'm not afraid of tier 10s with this gun. It's 476mm of penetration, 576 average damage, and 0.33 accuracy. This gun fears no tier 10s. Now, there's no artillery in this match, and that's quite rare for the test server as well. So, you'll note that I'm actually sitting in the middle of... I'm not actually in cover here. Now, that Batchat's 450 meters away, and he didn't spot me when I fired. Even though there was concealment but in a direct line of fire between myself and him, but the concealment was next to him, not next to me. So this thing does have a pretty good camo rating. Of course, I'm going to throw that camo rating away and drive right into the middle of the map and start using the depression of that grassy area over there. And it's at that point where I'm about to discover just how bad the gun depression of this thing is. But for now, you know, so, yeah, I am not actually in any kind of cover here whatsoever. And that Foch 155 didn't spot me. Just too far away, too good a camo value. Yes, there were bushes between myself and him, but he was right in those bushes. He was able to see through them. There. Now, in order to get some shots in on those guys, I was going to have to go even further forward in order to get my gun down, but I had been detected, and this thing does not take being detected very well at all. Decent damage roll on the side of that Foch 155. And here comes that Batchat I shot at earlier, and he looks like he's bringing a little friend with him. He doesn't appear to know I'm here. He's not paying much attention to his map. We're going to make him pay for that. There's my first kill. And it looks like his friend... Well, I'll take advantage of his inattention. And there's my second kill. 2 Batchats. Now, however, I'm going to be in trouble. I don't know why our other Batchat is running for it. Perhaps he was reloading, or he didn't like these odds. My first shot blows the tracks off the ST. I can win this fight by shooting at his lower glacis, but for that... Watch this. And here's where the gun depression gets me killed. I could have killed this guy with my second shot, but did not have the gun depression anymore when I reversed away to get his lower glacis. And, well, let's just say it's not often a Foch 155 gets a kill by ramming something, so that clearly made that guy's day. Yeah, the Waffletraktor IV does not take too well to being rammed. So that was my first game, and it wasn't terrible, and it certainly gave me a taste for how the machine's going to operate. Good camo rating, great tank until it gets detected, and then you get bum rushed, and then you get killed. So, lesson learned? No, of course I didn't learn my lesson, as you'll see in the next clip. I feel I do need to emphasise the point, however, that you absolutely cannot afford to be detected when you're driving this machine. And hopefully, this will illustrate exactly why. And I'll say no more on that subject. Right then, Prokhorovka, and again, brutal matchmaking. 128mm gun. Oh, it's a shame. I would have liked to have gotten a kill on that Foch 155, but hey, you can't have it all. And I don't want you to think that I'm complaining about the matchmaking. I mean, it would have been nice to be able to ruffle stomp over a bunch of tier 7s and 8s, but it never happened. This was the way the matchmaking has been in every game I've had in this machine. But I'm not complaining about it, because for review purposes, this is actually quite good. If you can give a good account of yourself when you're, if not bottom tier, I mean, you know, it could have been worse. I could have been in the tier 8 artillery. But other than him, I'm the only... I know we have a Tortoise and an Object 704 as well, but everybody else is tier 10. And if you can do well in a machine in this kind of environment, well, it's got to be a good machine. You know, you've definitely tested the limits of whatever tank it is you're driving. So, as far as, you know, reviewing this thing for YouTube is concerned, the brutal matchmaking I've had is actually not a bad thing. Now, Prokhorovka, I've never been up here before, this part of the map. I see other people over here all the time, but this is the first time I have ever been up here. So, and yes, I just bounced off a Leopard 1. And that's probably the first time that Leopard 1 has ever had somebody fire at him and bounce as well. Chances are I hit his upper glacis as he was coming up over the ridge of the hill at an auto bounce angle, but hey, what are you going to do? Now, we know that there's at least a Leopard 1 and a T110E4 up there, and we have some Overwatch fire back here on the ridge from not just artillery, but there are 3 dangerous tank destroyers here. If this AMX-50B would just pull back and let these guys come forward over the ridge, we could have them. Does he? Of course he doesn't. Great. Now we have no eyes on the ridge. So, this game could go either way. We're winning 5-4. We've got a bat chat going up. Hopefully, he's going to be cautious. He's sitting there on 1 health. Poor guy. He's actually got a kill. He's a Fat Bertha 666. He's an EU player. Hopefully, he's going to be smart about this. He's poked the ridge. He seems to have stayed in cover. He hasn't spotted anybody. And the tank destroyers are going for it. Okay. In for a penny, in for a pound. Ooh, actually, great. Damaged myself. Fantastic. Not critical, however. Still have 1500 health to play with. 268 and what is it? 263 and myself all going for the hill. There was a Leopard up there. There was... is he still alive? No, the T110E4 is dead. Didn't see him getting killed. But he's definitely not up there anymore. Now at the time, I didn't realise. I thought the T110E4 was still up there. As it happens, with him being dead, that probably means the Leopard has run for it. He wouldn't want to sit up there alone. Oh, he's still there. 268's just destroyed him. Okay. Now, I've fired 1 shot so far and it's bounced, so not my finest hour yet. Now this thing does not have great gun depression. And I'm aiming at the lower glacis of the Jagdpanzer E100, but it just missed. Now I've probably got the best view range of the guys on the hill here, so let's go and see what we can see. Oh, and I have to move forward to get the gun depression to shoot him in the side, but we got him. And I have been spotted, and they have 3 artillery, and that AMX-50B is taking the risk. He's actually using the Jagdpanzer E100 as cover, but he's not using them well enough. 263 takes him out. That's what you get when you're greedy for kills. 2 artillery. Oh, oh yes. Hello. And your little friend too. I know I'm going to reload before he does. Well, he's probably going to die at the tank destroyers before I can... Yep, there we go. We got him. Batchat 25T. Oh, the Batchat got him. Well done. Well done, Fat Bertha 666. And there's a mouse. Side of the mouse's turret. Yep, I can penetrate that. A Waffletraktor. Come on, give me a reload. Give me a reload. Give me a reload. Give me a reload. Yep, I hurt you as well. Side of the mouse again. 476mm of penetration. Does not fear the side of a mouse's turret. Do not have a shot at that Conqueror gun carrier, however. Let's see if I can get some more spots. The poor gun depression on this thing sometimes means... Uh-oh. Ah, shit. Batchat spotted me. I hit him, but I don't think I'm going to get out of this alive. I'm now the only tank destroyer up here. Oh, wow. He's not stopping to finish the job. Okay, I get hit by artillery, and the Waffletraktor finishes me off. But 3 kills. It's a tier 10 game. Yeah. Not bad at all. All they have left is a Waffletraktor, and he has been spotted. And Waffletraktor's that have been spotted tend to die very, very quickly indeed. We know exactly where the Conqueror gun carrier is as well. Yeah, we've just killed the Waffletraktor, and well, their artillery isn't going to be able to hide forever. He's either going to have to come out, or he's going to lose to a cap. And the object is going right for him. We know exactly where he is. The mouse is sitting in the cap. Who's going to get him? Oh, is the mouse leaving the cap to come and get him? Looks like he is. Although the capture count is still going up, but according to the map, the mouse is outside the cap circle. Unless he's just moving to the edge to try and get a shot in on the Conqueror gun carrier. Difficult to say. Yeah, he's still in the circle, and he has moved up to the edge to try to get a clear shot, but the Object 261 gets the kill. And the mouse gets all of his capture points, which is nice. Everybody's a winner. Well, no review of a machine is complete until I've tested all the weapon options available on it, and I really didn't want to do this because I just don't like these 150mm guns. I didn't try it out with a high explosive ammo because I've tried the high explosive ammo on its big brother, the Waffletraktor E100, and it is absolutely awful. It's horrible. You'll see why when I review this thing's big brother at tier 10. I've had plenty of games in this thing with the 128mm gun, and yeah, it does alright. It does alright. It's consistently good. I had a couple of games in this thing with the 150mm and standard armor piercing ammo, and it's bad. It's just very, very bad. Although that may be an artifact of playing on the test server, because this has been my matchmaking, just consistently all the way through. There's 3 of us who aren't tier 10, and you know, this is just what the matchmaking's like. I am aware that there are some people out there who say, oh, I'm always top tier whenever I play on the test server. Yeah, I wish I was you. This is what my matchmaking's like. And trying to fire with .38 accuracy, you can't aim for weak spots. With 235mm of penetration, you can't penetrate. Yeah, it's just horrible. Armor piercing ammo on this machine in a tier 10 game is horrible. In a tier 9 game, it's not that bad. I imagine. I wouldn't know. I have never gotten this thing into a tier 9 game. Never been top tier. Bearing in mind I have a 150mm gun which has .38 accuracy. This is a distinctly tier 10 game. I'm going to play this thing the way I believe this machine should be played as a sniper. I'm going to stay as far back as I possibly can. I'm going to use my camo net, I'm going to use my binoculars, I'm going to use my teammates to detect targets for me. High explosive anti-tank ammo, gold ammo, yep, 334mm of penetration, yep, it does not lose penetration with range the way armor piercing ammo does. However, it has to hit a flat surface of an enemy tank, otherwise it just bounces. It cannot hit spaced armor or it will just do no damage. If it hits any rounded or sloped armor, it gets no normalization value for armor angling, it just bounces. So I'm going to have to just aim for center of mass and hope I hit something flat. Like a mouse. That'll do. Or the side of a T-57 Heavy is probably more dangerous than the mouse. You'll note I have not been detected. Oh, that was a good hit. We've spotted their artillery, or at least one of them, not sure which one. Somebody's down there. Now, note this Death Star beside me, old Leonid in his FV215B183. Pay particular attention to our AMX 5100, who takes no damage whatsoever from the enemy team. Now that looked like... yeah. So there's a bounce. May have hit the side of that mouse. Sloped at an angle. High explosive anti-tank is not going to penetrate. And I want to make damn sure. Hello. It sounds like old Leonid over there is being hit. Yep, he's backing up, he's taking hits. Our T-57 Heavy is going after their T-57 Heavy. We've killed the mouse. And I'm just going to pull the camera back here. Shit for Brains over here has just one shot killed our own AMX 5100. Don't know where he was, but he's dead. Friendly fire. So that's nice. Meanwhile, I've spotted a T-110E5. Now that idiot behind me may have just cost us the game. The AMX 5100 was on full health. T-110E5. Yeah, if you're just going to sit there, you're going to make it easy for me, I'll take advantage of it. We are, of course, losing 610, not helped by Shit for Brains over here. You'll note I haven't been spotted yet this entire game. That big monster next to me has. Now, I don't know what sort of camera rating the 215B183 has, but I know mine's better. Now there's just us and artillery left, and this guy's a team killer who's done almost more damage to his own team than he has to the enemy, so yeah. Can I hit this IS-4? Nah. Didn't wait for it to be fully aimed, because if I didn't fire then, he was going to get into cover. And that's the chance you take. Now, can wait until I'm fully aimed on this guy. Full damage, right into the side of a T-62A. You'll note, Shit for Brains here has been spotted. I haven't. That was not artillery firing at me, that was artillery or something firing at Shit for Brains. And narrowly missing. I still have not been detected this entire game. Must apologise, by the way, to the enemy T-34 driver, Carbon Frozen 423. He's trying to talk to me in game. I'm a little busy, which is why I'm not responding. He's coming for me. Oh, so he is. I see you, and you don't see me. Again, 0.38 accuracy. At this kind of range, all you can do is just aim at centre of mass and hope you hit a flat surface. You certainly can't aim for weak spots with this gun, not at these ranges. They must have a fairly good idea of where I am, judging by where the shots are coming in from. Oh, he was so lucky to survive that one. Low damage roll, I would have had him. And they're just blind. They know I'm up here, but they're just blind firing at me. I have not been detected yet. This crew has sixth sense. It hasn't gone off. Nobody knows but they know I'm here, but they don't know exactly where I am. Look at him in chat. Ouch. Yeah, ouch. You're lucky to be alive. That should have killed you. 750 average damage. It rolled for 600. So, yeah. Am I going to get to finish him off? It's only a matter of time now. There's 6 of them left, including 2 artillery. The artillery are going to be zeroed in. And here comes the Death Star. And now I've been spotted. I'm going to get 1 shot. So I'll make it count, and then boom. Headshot. And there's the artillery as well. And ironically enough, I've done more damage using the gun and ammo that I really, really hate. High explosive anti-tank with the 150 than I have done in any of the games using the gun that I think is the best gun on the machine, which just goes to prove that World of Tanks has a sense of humour just the same as everybody else. Okay, couple of interesting things about that game. First and foremost, XP and credits earned. Now that was a defeat, obviously. 65,000 credits on a defeat in a tier 9, so that's a good result. And 1300 XP, 1293 on defeat. Undoubled, obviously, because it was a defeat. You only get the double for the first win of the day. But I got a sniper award, so there's a battle hero medal there. So you're thinking, yes, Jingles. You got a battle hero award, and that's why you've got 1300 XP, because it treats you as if you were on the winning team if you get a battle hero award. That's true. But it hasn't done that this time. Look at the detailed report. Down here, there you go. 1293 base XP received with premium. The Courageous Resistance Award, which is what that is, nil. This doesn't appear to be working on the test server. You're not getting treated as if you were on the winning team if you get a Battle Hero award while being on the losing team. So that 1300 XP is actually unmodified XP earned on a defeat, which makes that result all the more impressive. Yeah. 6,000 damage done. Not too bad at all. And obviously with the 152mm gun, 10 shots fired, 9 hits, 8 penetrations, just short of 6,000 damage. Took 3 hits and died. There are no, potential damage 1900. Yeah, you just die if you get shot in this thing, and that pretty much illustrates, well, a couple of things. That 150mm gun, I really do not like it. There is no way I would have done 6,000 damage in that game using that gun if I'd been using that ammunition. Not with, how much is it, 235? Yeah, 235mm of penetration. At the ranges I was engaging vehicles in that game, they would have just bounced. With the high explosive anti-tank ammo and 0.38 accuracy, just like I said, you have to keep this thing well back from the firing line, and you basically just have to aim for centre of mass of enemy targets. High explosive anti-tank does not like being fired at spaced armour, it does not like being fired at angled or sloped armour. It likes being fired at large flat surfaces, and it goes through large flat surfaces like a hot knife through butter. But with 0.38 accuracy and the fact that you must keep this machine certainly in a tier 10 game, you must keep this machine hidden. You'll note I did not get detected through that entire match until right at the end, and the second I got spotted, I was just dead. Well, I got spotted, and I was just dead because I was the last one left alive. but every time I have played this machine with that gun and that ammo, or any kind of ammo in that gun, you get spotted, you die. Simple as that. To make this thing work with any kind of gun, you have to stay hidden. So, summary time. I do like this machine. I like it a lot. I think you can get some very, very impressive results with it. But, you know, you cannot get spotted. This is not a Jagdtiger. You cannot use this thing as an assault gun the way you can with a Jagdtiger, because the Jagdtiger has some armor. Which gun are you going to use on this thing? Well, you pays your money, you takes your choice. You can either go for the 128mm gun, which is effectively the same gun as the Jagdtiger, but better. And you'll get consistent performance. It's got the accuracy, it's got the penetration. I mean, it has the accuracy to aim for weak spots, and it doesn't actually really need to aim for weak spots because it's got 276mm of penetration as well. It's got lightning fast aiming time, good rate of fire. It's a great gun. Or you can roll the dice and use the 150mm gun. I would recommend, if you're going to use the 150mm gun, that you're probably going to want to take your chances with high explosive anti-tank ammo. However, you get better performance with the 150mm than you do using the same gun on the E100. You have better aiming time, you have better accuracy. It's still not great aiming time and it's still not great accuracy, but it's better than on the E100. And you're a tier lower. So whereas the E100 never gets to use that gun on tier 7s, this thing will. So that 235mm of penetration with armor-piercing ammo is actually looking pretty good, especially considering you're going to be shooting at tier 7s and 8s a lot of the time in this machine. So that 150 is not actually that bad. And of course, for those occasions when you're coming up against lots of tier 10s with lots and lots of armor, you can always carry a few rounds of high explosive anti-tank. The option's there. I feel it's one of those guns in the game that does need some premium ammo to be effective, although not nearly as much on this machine as, for example, on the E100, because the E100 is tier 10 and this isn't. So it's pretty much a case of you spend your money, you takes your chances with this machine. I think it's a great machine. I personally will be using the 128mm. I just think it's a better gun and it's cheaper to use. So I really don't see any need to use the 150. Your mileage may, of course, vary. You've seen what both of the guns can do. Make your own mind up. Hope you enjoyed the review, folks. As always, take care on that battlefield, and I'll catch you next time.